Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how you can install Git and configure it with GitHub on your Windows 11 operating system. So let's start with the installation of Git. So for that, just open your favorite browser and search for Git. And the first link which will appear here will be from git-hcm.com, which is the official website. So we are going to click on this link, and once we are on githcm.com website, you will be able to see this download for Windows button here. So I'm going to click on this download for Windows button, where you will see few options. So let's click on this link. You can also see there are some standalone installers and portable installers. We will just click on this link which says click here to download, which is going to start the download of this executable file, which is a very small file. And once this executable file is downloaded, just click on this file. I'm going to minimize the browser. And here, first of all, you will see this kind of window, which will say, do you want to allow this app to make changes on your device? I will click on yes here. And you can see the setup for Git has been started. First window will be about the public license. So just click on the next button here. This will be the location where your Git will be installed. So if you don't have the good reason to change this location, just leave it as default and then click on next. And then you have this select component window here. So you have the option to click on this checkbox, which will add the additional icon on your desktop, and all the other options are there. So I'm going to just check this checkbox which says additional icons and leave all the other icons as checked, and then click on next. And then select start menu folder. I'm going to leave it as default and then click on next. And then you have choose the default editor by using Git. So you can see there are lots of editors here, right? So for now, you can choose, for example, Visual Studio Code as your default editor, or whatever editor you have on your Windows 11 operating system. You can choose that editor and then click on next. And then on the next window, you have adjusting the name of the initial branch. So on this window, what I generally like is I like to choose this option which says override the default branch name for the new repositories, and I generally name my default branch as main. The reason behind this is when you use Git with GitHub, the default branch name on Git is main and not the master, right? So just click on override the default branch name and then give the name main here and then click on next. And then adjusting your path environment, you have the option to use Git from Git bash only. You have the option to use Git from the command line and also from third-party software. I will go with the recommended option and then click on next. And then you have choosing SSH executable, use bundled open SSH, and you also have the option to use the external open SSH executable file. I will leave it as default and then click on next. And then once again, leave it as default, click on next. And then configuring the line ending conversion. We are on Windows, so I will leave this as default once again and then click on next. And then configuring the terminal emulator to use with Git bash, I will go with the recommended one and then click on next. And then you have to choose the default behavior of Git pull. So I will once again choose the default one and then click on next. And then you have Git credential manager. So choose the credential helper. I will choose the Git credential manager here, which is recommended, and then click on next. And then enable file system caching, click on next. Here configuring experimental options. So you have you can enable The experimental support was sudo consoles and also enable experiment built-in file system monitor. I will just choose both of them and then click on install, which is going to start the installation of Git. So now as you can see, the Git setup is finished, and you can even launch the Git bash using this checkbox. I'm going to uncheck this checkbox which says view release notes and then click on finish, which is going to launch Git bash. So you can see Git bash is now opened on my Windows operating system. I can even go to my start menu and then click on all apps here, and then under G I will be able to see Git here. And when you expand this Git option, you have this Git bash, Git cmd, and you also have Git GUI. So let me open Git bash from here, and let me also open Git GUI, and let's see how it looks like. So you can see there is this Git GUI, and you can clone existing repositories here using Git GUI, open existing repository or create a new repository. For now, I'm going to use the command line tool. So let me quit this GUI. So now Git is working, right? So let's create some kind of code, and then we are going to commit our code. So to do that, let me open some kind of folder where I have a JavaScript file which I want to commit, and then I want to push this JavaScript code to a GitHub repository, right? So this folder JS apps is on my desktop, as you can see, and then I have this test.js file here. So what I am going to do is I'm going to right click here, and I can either open terminal in this folder, or I can click on show more options and I can click on git bash here. So git bash is going to be opened inside this folder, right? So you can see I'm in my desktop and then JS apps folder, right? So the first thing you need to do here is we need to run a command called git init, right? It's going to initialize the Git into this project. So just write git init and then press enter, which is going to initialize Git into your project, right? And then when you do ls-al here, you will see that there is this .git directory which is created. If you see it using folder explorer, you might not be able to see it because it's a hidden folder, but on git bash you will be able to see it. And now once the Git is initialized, we can check the Git status. So just write git status command here, and you will see in the output it says untracked files, and this is the untracked file. I only had one file in my project folder, which is test.js, and Git says that this file is not yet tracked using Git, right? So we need to add this file to Git and then commit this file, right? So to add this, just write git add and the file name, which is test.js, and then press enter, and it's going to add this file into Git. Once again, run git status command, and now you will see this file in green. So what this means is we have added the file to Git, but we need to commit this file also, right? So once you have added this file to Git, just write git commit here, and then write -m. -m is the flag which we use to give any comment, right? So I can give a comment to my commit, for example, first commit here, and then the file name, which is test.ts, and then press enter. And once you press enter, this file will be committed, right? Now, before committing this file, you will be able to see this error. You have to configure Git before committing this file. and you have to run these two commands, right? First one is git config user.email, and then second command is git config global username and give your username, right? So I'm going to just do that. So let me just copy and paste this command on the terminal, which is the first command, and you can replace the email, sample email, by your email here, right? So I can just write xyz, for example, @gmail.com. So I just want to give a sample email ID here. You might want to give your real email ID in this case. And the second command is git config global user.name. So give the username here. So I'm going to give the username. You can give any username here and then press enter. And once you are done, you can once again run this git commit -m first commit test.js. In my case, it can be any file in your case. So let me run this command, and this time it's going to be successful, right? So you can see our file is committed. Let me clear the terminal here, and now I will write git status once again, and then it says nothing to commit, and our working tree is clean, right? So we have committed our code, and you can also see that on git bash you will see the branch name in front of your folder name, and right now the branch name is main here, right? And git has created this main default branch for us. So now we are done with the git part. Let's go to GitHub now. So you can just search for GitHub and then click on the first link here. And if you don't have the GitHub account, you can create one very simply. And once you are inside your GitHub account, it's going to look like this, right? So in order to create a new repository, you can click on this plus sign and then click on new repository, and then give any name to your repository. Now what I will suggest is you can give the same name as your project name. So in my case, my project folder name is JS apps, right? So I can copy this name and then paste it as the repository name. It's not necessary, but what I generally do is I generally give the same name to my repository as my project name on my local system, right? And then you can add the description, my first app, for example. So this will be the description of your repository. You can also add the readme file. You can also add git ignore files and license files. For now, I don't want to do anything, but you might want to add these files in your real projects, right? And then click on create repository, and our repository is created now, right? So now if you see closely here, GitHub is going to give us some kind of procedure how you can push your code on this repository. So if you see here, we have already ran the git init command. We have already ran the git add command to add the test.js file, which was the file in our project, right? We have already ran the git commit command with -m, right? We are already on the main branch, right? So you can see when I go to git bash terminal, the branch name is highlighted here, which is main, right? So first 4 command we have already done. Now the next command is git remote add origin. This is the thing you need to do now, right? But before doing this, I will recommend you to create a GitHub token, because you will require a GitHub token in order to push your code into your repository. So what I will recommend first is just go at the top here And then let me open this GitHub website on the next tab. So just go at the top and then click on your profile and then click on settings here. And once you are on settings, just go at the very bottom on the left hand side where you will see developer settings. I'm going to click on that. And once I'm inside the developer settings, I can click on personal access token here. And then I'm going to create a classic token, right? So here I can click on generate new token, and then I'm going to click on generate new classic, and I can give any name to my token. So my first token, for example. And then you can also choose the expiration date for your token. So I can choose the custom date, and I want to expire this, let's say after 2 days. Okay, so today is 24th. I will expire this token after 2 days because I am just creating this for the demonstration purposes. In your case, you might want to choose 90 days, or even you can choose no expiration, which means that your token will never expire. So you can use it forever, right? And then just check all these checkboxes here. So you are allowing the user, if he uses this token, create or delete your repository, write into the packages, and all the other privileges, right? So admin privileges, I'm going to choose each and every option here for this token. So let me just choose all these, and once I'm done, I can create this token. So I'm going to click on generate token here, and this token is generated. Now you need to keep in mind that this token you can only see once, right? Once you close this window, you will not be able to see it again. So it's a good idea to back up this token somewhere, right? So I will copy this token for now, and let me open, let's say, Notepad. So let me open Notepad and then paste this token here so that I can use this later. Okay, so let's go to the repository where we were seeing these git commands, and as I mentioned, we have already finished first 4 commands, so we can give this command, and it says you can give this command, right? But instead of giving this command, you can give this command to use this token, right? So we have created this token, right? And instead of giving git remote add, the command is same, git remote add origin, right? And then https, and before github.com you can provide your token so that you don't need to provide any username and password at the time of git push, right? So just provide the token. I'm going to give this command in the description of this video, so you can directly copy this. So I'm going to give this token, and then give your username and the repository name. You can see the username and repository name at the top in the URL also, or you can also see it here, right? So this is the username and this is the repository name. So let me copy these two things, and then I'm going to replace this here. So this is my command, right? https token name @github.com / username and the repository name. So the only change we need to do here is we need to provide the token name @github.com. Okay, so just copy this command and then paste it on the terminal, and you need to paste it inside the same folder in which you are working. So we are working inside the JS apps folder, right? So I'm going to paste this command here, and there was some error because I copied some foreign characters here. So I'm going to remove them, and now I'm going to give this command, right, which is git remote add origin https token name @github.com. So basically what this command is going to do is it's going to add the remote origin for this project, right, which is our repository link. Okay, and then you can give the next command, which is git push -u origin main. Okay, so you can give this command, right click, copy, and then paste this here, and then press enter, which is going to push your code into GitHub. Okay, so if everything works correctly, this branch is created, and once you refresh this folder, so let me open the next tab, and I will go to the repository once again, because I want to just leave this as it is. And then you can see we have created this JS apps repository, right? So I can click on this, and you will see that our test.js file is here. Okay, so inside this test.js file, I have some JavaScript code, which is basically starting a very simple localhost web server, right? So our code is committed and it's there on GitHub, right? Now, if you want to change something in your code, let's say I have this test.ts file once again. So you can see when I give ls, I have this test.ts file. And let me open this using code. If you have Visual Studio Code, you can open this in Visual Studio Code by just giving this command, code space dot, which is going to open this folder in Visual Studio Code editor, right? And this is the code which we have committed, right? So in addition to hello world, let's say I will add some special characters here. So now once you changed your code, you can commit this code once again, right? So in order to commit this code, once again go to the same folder, give git status command, and you can see it will say you have some uncommitted code. So just write git commit -m and then your message. So I can just say second commit here, and then the name of the file, which is test.ts, and then press enter. And every time you commit the code, you need to push that also, right? So right now you can see the hello world look like this, right? So once we will commit the code, we have changed the code little bit, and we have added these special characters after this hello world. So we want to see this on the GitHub repository also, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to commit this code. So we have already committed this code with this comment, which is second commit, and now we are going to push this code. In order to push this code, you give this command, git push -u origin main. Okay, press enter, and then your code is pushed. And once again, when you will refresh this code or this URL, so let me refresh this URL, and hopefully this change will reflect in the GitHub also. So you can see these special characters are added in my code in my test.js file, right? So this is how you can install and use Git and GitHub on your Windows 11 operating system. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next video.